Hello everybody, this is Ben with another Minecraft video. In today's video I'm going to explore ways to create chicken farms. Now you've probably seen the design of a chicken farm that uses cobwebs to basically suspend the chick from the top down to the bottom where it is slaughtered and its items collected. It's a pretty unique design, but the problem is that it takes up a lot of space and resources, especially given how difficult it is to get silk touch on shears. So instead I wanted a different way of doing a chicken farm, and this is what I came up with. So to begin, you have a holding cell with a bunch of adult chickens. They're standing on top of a hopper where they will lay eggs. These eggs go into a dispenser, which will fire out the eggs, hopefully getting a chicken. Try this again. Okay, so we got a chick. Now, you'll notice this chick is not drowning. That is a good thing. So the chicks do not drown. On the other hand, the adults are slightly taller and their heads do stick into this water and they will eventually drown. When the adult chicken drowns, this hopper picks up their remains and deposits it into this chest. This is the third iteration of the chicken farm. You can see here I've moved the feather and raw chicken chest and the cooked chicken chest above each other. I also added the ability to put fuel for the furnace into this one. We're using blaze rods. So this is a very compact. You can see the chicken window there, so you can see how many you have in process at the moment. So this is fairly compact display here. If we go around the back, you can see we have our chicken cage, which feeds into the dispenser, which fires into the kill chamber here. The kill chamber feeds directly into this chest. Behind the chest we have two filter hoppers, one for the fuel, one for the raw chicken. Then the fuel feeds directly into this furnace, while the raw chicken goes up a level here and is fed into the top of the furnace. The raw food, the cooked food, sorry, comes down here, and then this dropper ladder brings it up to the top, where it is deposited in the stock chest for your consumption. I had this running for a little bit of time. I actually ran out of fuel, but you can see you get a good amount of chicken out of it when you have a lot in the chamber to begin with. There's about a 20-minute delay between when you start this up and when you actually get chickens. So we're going to start with our chests. We want one double chest in front and one double chest in back. You need a double chest in front so that you can grab both raw chicken and fuel from the top here. You can get away with a single chest on the bottom if you want. Now I'm actually going to put the chicken cage and kill chamber back. 15 blocks. I've set up a water track that leads into this hopper here, which leads into this large chest. And I have a, oh, we don't want a dispenser here, we want a dropper. No, this can be a dispenser because we're not put, well, actually we do want a dropper here. The reason is because sometimes the adult chickens in the kill chamber will lay eggs, and if that happens, we don't want a dropper here to shoot out chickens that will then get stuck at the end here and make a lot of noise. Okay, so now we're going to build up the kill chamber. So that consists of a dispenser, a half slab, and you're going to want walls for your chamber. We're going to go up 2, put water in, and then seal it up. Now we're going to activate it. Now the changes to comparators is kind of weird. So currently, if you power a dropper or dispenser with a comparator, it will shoot out semi-rapidly. Fast enough for what we're doing here. Now the interesting thing is this will do the same thing through a block. So if you put a block between the dispenser and the comparator, it will also shoot out rapidly. And we're going to use that fact. The reason we don't power it directly is because if we have a hopper attached to this somewhere, if you power this directly, then it will also power the block and or the hopper and shut it off. Doing it this way, we can cause this to fire rapidly while still maintaining, while still keeping our hoppers activated. Unfortunately, you can't activate stacks this way. So this isn't like it's going vertically, and it only works horizontally. So that's kind of annoying, I guess. Okay. So let's build our chicken chamber now to hold them. So your chamber can be any size. I'm going to go with a 3x3. You can also use water here to push the eggs to a center hopper instead of, or to a side hopper here, instead of just having an array of hoppers if you're low on iron. I don't like using water in animal pens because when they jump in water they cause lag. And my computer isn't that good, so having a lot of lag from animals jumping around isn't a good idea. And I'm just going to put a top on this. And I'm just going to use chicken or spawn eggs. Just to speed up this process. One good thing about using water is that sometimes chickens will escape. from here. If you had water pushing them against the sides, or away from the sides, then that's less likely to happen. So let's see if this is built far enough away. So, no sound from the chickens, which is perfect. So what this will do is it will or we're going to build another one here as well, is it's going to chickens will lay eggs. Those eggs will go into this dispenser, will be fired down, creating new little chickens here. Those chickens will grow up in 20 minutes, suffocate, die. Their chicken and feathers will be collected into this dropper, which will fire out, which will come down here and be stored in this double chest for our use down the line. Next, we want to set up the fuel and raw chicken intake. So in order to do this, we're going to make a couple of hopper sorting systems. So we want these to go directly back, because we want the furnace in the back here. So we're going to put hoppers in this configuration. I'll do one side and I'll just copy it over to the other side. Okay, next we want to have a block here, second block, and we're making an arrow, basically. That's how I remember the shape, so it's a little arrow pointing to the top hopper that you want to control. Next we need a repeater, and we're going to do comparator, 2-line of redstone, and then finally a redstone torch down here. So what this is going to do is when there's not enough redstone to create 2 lines worth, or when there's not enough items in the hopper to create 2 lines of redstone worth of strength, this torch will be on, which will turn this hopper off, which will keep this one from draining into it. Yet allow this one to get more items from the chest. When there are enough items to reach this block, for the signal to reach this block, activate this, it will turn off this torch, which will allow this to accept items from the top hopper. And that turns out to be about 22 items. So if we chuck in 22, we'll feed into here. When we get 22 items here, it will start feeding into this bottom one here. So there we go. It is now feeding through from the chest on top. And we'll go through. And then when we reach 22, it will shut itself off. So now if we take, I like to take 3, put it in, and then we can put whatever we want to filter. So this is going to be raw chicken. Put it in there. And now, because this is always going to have raw chicken in the first slot, no items besides raw chicken can go in there. So we can put, well, that's actually going to work because, of course, we had cobblestone in there. But if we put something that isn't in there, like redstone or feathers, it's not going to be fed in here. So I'm going to copy this on the other side, mirroring it, and we can move on. So in this one, you want to put whatever fuel you're going to use. I'm using blaze rods. Okay, now we can work on creating the furnace area. So this one is pretty easy. We just have the two hoppers lead directly into the furnace. Unfortunately for the raw chicken, we have to feed it in from the top. So we're going to grab a couple hoppers and droppers. So we need to feed in from the top, and we also want to connect it to this. So we can just use a dropper here, facing upwards, like this. And we're going to do the same trick we used previously, where we use this trick a lot with droppers and elevators, or at least I do. And we can see that it's now feeding directly in. Very good. Now that we have our furnace going, we need to pull stuff out of it. It's going to be tricky because you have two redstone torches right between your furnace and your output chest. Now you could put the output chest really anywhere. You could actually put it probably, over here and just avoid those torches altogether, but I like the verticalness of this. So I'm going to go down below the torches. So we're going to come down here, and I'm just going to make a stack of these, even though I'm not going to use all of them. Let me place my chest here. Cool. And we're going to, I think if I put the hopper here, yep, it isn't shut off by the torch. If I put it here though, no. Interesting. I guess I don't know how that happened before. Oh, right, it was draining to the one below it. Yeah. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, we have to put it. So you put 4 droppers facing up, and then we're going to put our hopper going this way. Now, if you're low on hoppers, instead of having this here, you can use a minecart chest to go back and forth. And if you do that, you can actually probably raise this up by 1. So now things will be collecting in here, so we want to build a, turn this into an elevator. So this is a bit tricky because we have this hopper here. We have this hopper here, so we can't power anything on this particular block right here. So we're going to use a different trick to create an elevator. Normally we would just use these to power it, but given that it's 4 tall and we have to worry about the these hoppers, which if we power them, they will be turned off. I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to build a torch tower on this side here. Yep. So, or not a torch tower, a elevator here. So I'm going to use a fairly straightforward as you can see, this makes a clock, and because we powered this dispenser with this block here, it causes it to shoot up. So that one's set. Now we have to go up by one. Which will hopefully cause this to fire up to this one now. Okay. So we're almost there. We now just need to activate that last one. We're going to do that. Putting one there. And one there. And if we grab it, we should be able to see dropping in there. So now we just need to seal this up. So this one is fine that way. We're going to have to use a half slab here, or else we're going to cut off that redstone down there. So the final thing we're going to do is clean up this area a bit. Now unfortunately there's some things we really can't fix, like this here. We need the redstone there, so we really can't do anything about that. But most of this we can make look nice. Because we put this hopper going into the back, we can seal up around this one quite a bit. You'll notice we have a gap there though, so what we can do is instead of putting another hopper there, we can use a cauldron. These have basically the same exact texture. Not the same exact texture, but close enough and of the same color that they kind of blend together. So if you don't want to use a hopper, but you want to match the hopper texture, use a cauldron. So, and we can kind of clean this up a bit down here, I think, or can, no, because that's, I guess we can't. Oh well. You could probably move this over here, actually. Let's see if that's going to work. Nope, that is not going to work. Never mind. And then you can just clean up, you know, on the sides here. So that's the design. You know, you can throw in your blaze rods, coal, wood, whatever you want to use in here. Feed the furnace. Get your cooked chicken out here, and your feathers here. So overall, it works out nice. And if we go back here, you can see we already have quite a bit of chickens in there ready to be processed. Unfortunately, none yet. I don't know if those are phantom chickens or actual chickens, but it's always a good idea to put lava under your farms like this, just in case you get some rogue chickens escaping. You can uh, just incinerate them instead of having them stick around and cause noise. So we can see we ran out of our initial batch of raw chicken, and we'll have to wait for these guys to be processed through before we can really start making them uh, ourselves. Of course, you could always just throw raw chicken in there. If you kill a couple of chickens out someplace else, you can just chuck them in there and they'll be processed. I think they might be creeping out between the edge of the glass and the hoppers. I just saw one fall through here, like that guy, and continue to fall down until he hit the bottom, so I'm thinking maybe that's the issue. Of course, in a survival world, I'd probably dig out this chamber in the side of a hill or something, so I wouldn't have to worry about them clicking through the walls as much. Yeah, that seems to have stopped them falling out. Okay, we got our first adult chicken in there. It'll eventually start drowning and die. So we got a couple of them now. There we go, so he's dead. Shot out. And when we deposited, we got a couple feathers, so it's actually probably a good idea to put a roof on this thing. Just to keep the items in the stream. So that'll do for me today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on an automatic chicken farm. As you can see, the concepts behind it are pretty straightforward, and with a decent number of chickens, you can get quite a good yield of food out of it, and feathers, of course. So, have a good day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.